All right. Well, I'm here today with Brian Martorana, who is the VP of Sales and Marketing at Team Support. And today we're just going to chat a little bit about his experience working with SRG Marketing. Just hear about his thoughts and the results we got and his experience. So Brian, thank you for taking the time to chat with me today.
Yeah, sounds great.
Cool. So I guess just to start, can you just briefly describe what you do and what Team Support does?
Yeah, I lead a sales and marketing team at Team Support. We are a customer support solution that offers ticket management and live chat products for mostly B2B and software companies. I think ticket management, customer follow-up, customer records, knowledge base, those types of things.
Awesome. And in terms of, you working with us, can you kind of share a little bit about where you were before working with us in terms of your demand gen strategy and then kind of what that looked like afterwards, after working with us?
Yeah, so prior to working with SRG, I would say we were really disorganized. We had jumped into the demand gen discipline as a company prior to me joining the organization. But things were kind of all over the place. Tons of nurture campaigns, more than 10 dashboards inside of HubSpot. So many reports in Salesforce that really what we were doing was very reactive. And so what had happened was we had just built up tons of content and really not, set things up the right way. So when we decided to make a shift or make a pivot from a strategic standpoint, we didn't get rid of past initiatives or past campaigns inside of HubSpot or inside of Salesforce. So really what the end result was after working with SRG was we were just really organized when it came to both the demand gen side of things, but also just like I mentioned, reporting, dashboards. We have a pretty good sized marketing tech stack. And we don't have a marketing tech person or marketing operations person. And so that was really where the value came through, was getting us organized in those areas.
Awesome. So you talked about like organization being a little bit of a mess. Can you get a little more specific with some of like the challenges you were facing on the demand gen side? I know there's organization, but was there anything else kind of stopping you guys from hitting your pipeline goals or helping you grow the way that as fast as you'd like?
Yeah, there's two places that I think, and the organization was, just at some level table stakes, right? Like you have to be organized on the front end so that when you go out to market with some of your campaigns, they're set up the right way, things are being done in an efficient manner. But really what we hired SRG to do was to help us improve conversion rates throughout our funnel. So we have pretty good, we have above industry standard conversion rates at the bottom of the funnel. It was really helping us at the top of the funnel. So the two places that really came in was one, just on, are we utilizing nurture campaigns the right way when an MQL comes in? Like, I know that's very like rudimentary on some level, but like we were not doing it the right way. So we got very strategic there after working with the team. And then the other place that I would see the most value was just on quality of leads. So our lead numbers did not necessarily increase by double-digit percentages, but my team was wasting time prior to SRG on bad quality leads. And so what we thought was a lead ended up not being a lead, but it took a little while to get to that point to decide that. And so what we did was we just we saw a 10% increase on MQLs, which is positive, and that's good, but they were so much better, right? And then so the ripple effect that is, my team from a sales engineer standpoint, from a marketing standpoint, from an AE standpoint, they're spending time on things that matter. And then what we saw was we beat plan in Q1 and almost hit it in Q2, and we're on pace to hit it in Q3.
That's amazing. Yeah, and I've been that person in the past who has sent a lot of unqualified leads to a sales team, and a lot of marketing teams don't think about the opportunity cost that brings, taking them away from doing other higher value tasks. So it's an interesting point. In terms of the lead quality, do you have an idea of like what percentage was being when beforehand? What percentage was kind of roughly qualified, and kind of do you have like a gauge of like what it was after roughly? Or
yeah, I would say I would say about 20% of our leads were, poor quality, right? And they weren't the leads like the easy ones, right? We weren't considering like a Gmail account one as, like we weren't saying, oh man, we figured out now that was not a good lead, right? Or a bad phone number, something like that. It was really just, I think, in the targeting we did on our paid search and inside of LinkedIn with you guys, was that like we had our universe was way more strategic at that point, right? And so titles, types of companies that we were targeting, I think all of that led to, kind of kicking out that roughly monthly 10 to 20% bad leads, right? And so, what we had to do is just kind of hit the reset button with our teams internally, right? We report from, to the exec team all the way up to the boardroom, was just getting them comfortable with lead numbers are the same this month, but they're way better, right? And show that the funnel conversions were better because of that, right?
Yeah, that makes sense. Can you talk a little bit more about I guess the targeting on the advertising platforms and like what was the process there? Because that's actually really interesting.
Yeah, so I think we as an organization last year tried to be everything to anyone. And so as we narrowed our ICP, then, subsequently marketing campaigns followed that, right? Now, what we didn't utilize in the past, which your team helped with, was utilizing like audiences and maybe finding other titles that work in this discipline of customer support. And so, one example would be we went after manufacturing organizations and companies. We've seen a little traction with those in the beginning part of this year. And the team helped us organize and drill down that, some of these manufacturing companies didn't have VPs of client services. So then how do we find the folks that we need to be targeting? And that led us into a path of operations and other titles that then yielded us results on the front end.
Got it. That makes sense. And was there any process around like when leads came in, reviewing those leads, like analyzing that? Was any of that going on as well?
We utilize lead scoring to an extent. We don't hinge all of our decisions in the process on that. But our lead volume and what we're looking for, we can take a look at the leads every day and go through that and make sure that they're quality and pass them along through there.
That's cool. Is there anything else you can think of that we worked on that kind of really helped improve the lead quality or help you guys hit those numbers in Q1?
Yeah, I think that, your team got in and learned who we were targeting, and then it was easy to say, oh, that's a bad one, right?
Was there anything that surprised you about working with SRG? And just like what overall, like what did you like about working with us?
I don't know if it's surprised as much as refreshing. Maybe that's the same term. I really enjoyed the pushback. I think it's really easy when you work with an organization like SRG for the company, especially in the beginning time of the relationship, to say yes all the time to the client. We as the client appreciate the pushback and the no, that's not a good idea. Brian, we shouldn't be doing that. And so I thought that was really important at the beginning stages of the relationship. What I really enjoyed was communication and proactiveness. So we got to a place where, SRG was our demand gen team, right? And it felt like you guys were inside the walls of the company most of the time. And that was refreshing as well. For us, we didn't need to tell the team, oh, go ahead and create that dashboard or go ahead and make that shift in the strategy. Those things were just being done, right? And I appreciated that. It didn't happen in the first 90 days because we're getting to know each other and getting to know each other, like, what we're trying to employ or trying to do. But that was great. And then I would just say communication, right? There were no surprises. And so I think that's a big key when you work with a partner and someone that's helping you with very strategic initiatives, is that you don't find out something later on, good or bad.
And then in terms of, let's say someone was on the fence about working with SRG and they came to you to ask for advice, what would you tell them?
Somewhat similar to my answer just now, in that we felt like SRG was a part of our team. And we didn't have the opportunity to hire someone directly on our team that would manage demand gen, but we knew we needed someone to manage that for us or we weren't going to be successful. And so if someone was on the fence, I would say, hire SRG. They're going to feel like they're part of your team within a few months.
That's awesome. Cool. All right. Well, that's all I had, Brian. This was super informative. Thank you for coming on this call and sharing your experience.
Yeah, sounds great. Thanks, Scott.